in speaker.
Yeah, she doesn't know that. Yeah. I don't think she understands that technicality. You know, when you go to HBCUs, they just don't teach you everything.
So, Lawrence, wasn't you that I saw recently this week celebrating someone at HBCU?
Oh, yeah. But I also did a slight shade at Alainta, so it's interesting that she didn't catch that.
Oh, I didn't read the whole thing then because I didn't see the shade.
No, yeah, the shade was hilarious. It's like, you know, basically because the shade does the whole... Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't hear us.
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. That kind of got weird. Yes. So the shade was that Lachey, who does the 8 cents in the jar, she just got like, I guess, a feature.
Look at your curlies, Alainta.
She had a feature. However, I was looking at Alainta like, so what are you doing? What you up to? And that was the shade. She didn't catch it though, you know.
I caught it. I just ignored your ass.
like, hey,
that's being progressive, Alainta.
What are you doing with your life? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's Friday. It was payday. I'm just like, oh, okay.
It's unnecessary. It's like unnecessary jab.
Hey, check this out, lovely. It's always about what the women are doing. It's never about what the men are doing. Silence, crickets.
Right.
There's nobody.
That's very true.
At least I'm doing something.
You may as well call
something.
One, for some reason, Clee's coming over here, so we're probably gonna go to a run afterwards or something like that. On top of that, maybe we should have a conversation about what are the guys doing. You know, let's just
they
keep it
always
like that.
calling me out.
We start from the top. I'll start talking trash, and yeah, we go from there.
If I disappear within 20 minutes, you guys know that I head to a meeting. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yo, Bruno is having a fit down here. He was like, okay, so you just want to record without... Come on, shit.
Not doing anything.
Because I'm blocking the way where he can jump on the chair. So he's like, okay, what's going on here? How you guys doing? How you doing, LG?
Great. Let's just start the podcast. Let's just start it. Somebody, who wants to do the intro?
I did the intro last time.
Well, I don't know.
Alainta, you weren't even here last time. How is that true? How is that even true?
Well, when I was here. When I was here.
You may as well cut this part in. Like, you got to keep this thing in.
When I was in, I did the intro.
Just to let you know,
I was on the interview podcast. I was on the interview podcast, remember?
No,
I was out here putting in work, quote unquote.
No, that was like before, and then you were just MIA last week.
MIA out here putting in work. You were
working out or boot up.
You were. You were.
I was working out. Yeah, I was working out. Okay. I was in the community, supporting and promoting Black entrepreneurship and small businesses. I'm
just
putting in
pause
work
right now. Pause.
Per usual.
Everyone that's listening to this, that was a finesse. That was a finesse.
I like it.
I'm leaving all of this. There is no intro. I'm just leaving all of it. Alainta, please. People know
who we are, I guess. Well,
we should say hi because you never know. This might be the first time listening.
If it's your first time listening, my name is Lawrence Delva Gonzalez. I am already known as the neighborhood finance guy, but you are listening to the Financial Griot with me and other 2 people. But it's all good. You know, either way, we're going to be talking about money. Stories and even, some thoughts and ideas that we might have, especially as it pertains to the Black diaspora or even people living in the big cities and whatnot. So please feel free to chime in and leave us a like, leave us a share, tell your friends to listen to the Financial Griot because we get it popping.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Alainta. I am one of the crew of TFG, the Financial Griot. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Checking me out on my YouTube, where I discuss money, finances, self-development, all that good stuff. And we are here. I've been gone for 2 episodes, but I am here putting in work per usual, Mr. Delva Gonzalez.
Yeah, I think I need to just stick with Lawrence. I'm just trying to get used to the entire name, but go ahead, Lovely.
Hey, everyone, this is Lovely. You can find me on IG at Lovely Merdelus, and I'm the nice one. If you didn't know, if this is your first time listening, so nice, so sweet. And as you can see, Lauren just said he was with 2 other people because we don't have names. If you've heard us a while, Lawrence doesn't even remember our names.
I love you missed that. I told you she misses it.
I'm not missing it. I'm one of the. I acknowledge it. I'm not worried.
No. You listen. Did you listen to the episode that Lawrence didn't even remember my name? Like he didn't even like he.
He kept going right. The tangent just kept. He forgot all about you like 10 minutes into the episode.
I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm just throwing slight shade. Like that's what
shade.
That's what happens when you go
you gave him the right episode to talk, and he was like, I'm taking this and I'm running with it. And I forgot you were on for a second. I'm like,
no. I'm just like, I'm letting you know when it goes on a rant like that, and I think everybody's gonna get a chance to rant. It's pretty much like Lovely likes to bait me into the rant, and she's like, no, we gotta record. No, before you get started, let's record. So she's the one that's in the back. She's like the instigator in the background. Like, go. And she hypes it and she walks away. Yeah. Just get angry and angrier. Go with your rant.
Oh my God, guys, I do set them up a little bit, but it's always hilarious. The rants are always hilarious to me. Okay.
Nobody sets you up for your rants. You go on to somewhat like micro religious rants sometimes. I'm like,
this is my life.
This is profound.
Her experience. She's in the know. Like she is branding and consulting and all this stuff. So she is.
It goes into like an Oprah moment. Not just that. It's just an Oprah moment. It gets real emotional. It gets real layered.
I'll take Oprah because I want to be your gal. Can I be your gal, Lovely?
I can't stand you guys.
Can I get some money on the side?
That's all I hear because I know you guys are going to be throwing me under the bus. Let me make it to Forbes because that's really my goals, God. I want to I'm going to say this on the Financial Griot podcast. So if it ever happens,
I'm going to be that person that said, hey, I was right next to Lovely the entire time. Like, look, we're in the same podcast all the time.
No lies. So
I'll
the goal is not to be in Forbes, but be on the cover of Forbes. Okay, so you guys. Just put an asterisk.
I want to be in the speech. Okay? I want to be the speech. It's like, I was there the entire time. In the photo, I was there the entire time. Just enough old photos.
It's gonna have an asterisk. It's gonna have an asterisk where it says Lovely, and then Lawrence. On the bottom.
I have full on like speeching and engagements talking about, hey, I work with Lovely. That's the entire thing. I was
people
there.
Like, how is she? Oh, I have stories for days.
I got her call. I could call her right now. But I'm not gonna do that. Hey, you know how we do.
All right, guys. Let's get into the topic.
It's about Atlanta. Atlanta been gone. She said she'd be putting work in the community. I'm like, what you been doing? Because based off the episodes, by the time they listen to it, they're like, hey, she's been gone for a hot minute.
Like 3 episodes.
You've
been gone. You've been gone, Atlanta. But it's okay because we know you got a new boyfriend. We understand. You're trying to get snatched. Oh, no, you already snatched, actually.
Oh, yeah, let's clarify that.
Atlanta, have you been seeing Atlanta?
Yeah. You can tell when Atlanta goes fat because you don't see her at all. So now that she's back in the gym, she out there like, posing on OnlyFans.
On Reels? Yeah.
On Reels. On stories. YouTube. In one piece and onesies, all types of stuff. You're like, man, this is not right.
Keeping it PG-13.
All of y'all.
I'm happy, man. I'm here. I'm happy.
We could tell. We could tell. Yeah, we could tell.
The glow is real. The curls are back out. It feels good not to have weave in my hair for a little bit. I'm here. Has it been 3 episodes? It doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, that's what happened.
We were recording. Yeah, we were recording, so I guess that's part of it too. Yeah, and you always kind of like flake on us, so that's another thing. You be flaking
because I have a life.
Damn.
Is that what you trying to say about us?
You trying to say about the fans? What about our 5 fans that are listening to this all the time, waiting for you to say something? Like 5 of them. Yeah. Like it's 5 of them total.
And we set the schedule together, guys. Let's just be real here. We literally have a group chat. So Saturday's good. Yeah. Every 2 Saturdays? Yeah. Saturday show up. Where you at? Really? We were recording this Saturday?
Like in the morning. Hey guys, I can't really get there. I gotta go to the gym. You're like, oh, so you already knew it was coming, but you decide at that point, this is when you're gonna go do this.
And then want to scold us because we're not on Clubhouse anymore. Come on.
Yeah, I did a bandit clubhouse. There was no goodbye. There was no.
We really did it. We
PR.
are so bad.
There was
we really
nothing.
didn't do like a closeout.
It was
episode.
nothing. I had someone reach out to me. Like, oh, you guys still doing? I'm like, it was left on red.
Left it on red.
I'm like, check out the TFG episode.
Leave that sucker on red. Leave it on red.
I had someone reach out to me. I'm like,
you delete, you block them. You're like, this getting kind of weird. Block them. Just block.
So this is what happens when anybody get a little bit of fame. They be like, I can't come to the neighborhood barbecue no more because I got plans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in all seriousness.
Let me look at this. Okay. My homegirl. Well, I'm not gonna. Yeah, that's a stretch to call her a homegirl, but it's a person I've always known, Lachey Reeves, and she actually started the thing called 8 cents in the jar, which is basically her push to provide financial literacy to kids. It's something that she started ever since she was at FAMU University. She's been pushing that. She went to Orlando. She lives in Orlando now. So in that area, she's been really pushing and getting accolades for the work that she's doing. Now she's approaching it. So she's not all about there's a problem. She's actually a person that's always been trying to solve this problem. So it's one thing, she recently got featured on CNBC, for spending $5,000 of her life savings to really start her business and spearhead that. So I shared it on my Facebook, but I also shared a bit of shade about Atlanta at the same time. So it's like Lachey is out here living legend, doing her thing. And on the bottom, I was like, Atlanta, hey, she's a fellow rattler. So what have you been up to with your life? SMH. I felt like a Haitian parent that just like, cousin café by. We just like, what you doing?
Of course, what Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high. And that's the approach that I took because I'm thinking long term and not being shady like Lawrence over here. But yeah, actually, I follow her story. Speaking of, she listened to this. I sent out a friend request a minute ago. It's still pending.
Oh my goodness. Damn.
I just thought about that too, because I checked her out. I'm like, I sent out a friend request. But anyways, I read the article too. So her schedule is real. Well, she get up, I think, at 4:00 in the morning and does and volunteer at her nonprofit, 8 cents in the jar. Provide the program, the mentoring and whatnot. And then from 8, she get ready to go to work. She's worked in the financial banking institution. I think under the inclusive diversity department or something along those lines. But like she does this like 6 days, 5 or 6 days out the week, every morning. So her passion, her purpose, everything is in there. You can tell that this is what she loved to do. And I'm for it. I'm definitely for it. But let's just put it out there. I was on CNBC first. Let's before this feature.
Like this thing. Ooh,
yeah, because I seen the shade. But I'm like, I'm not. See, this is what men do. They always trying to compete women against women, especially black women against women. When I seen that lovely, I'm just like, this beautiful woman, this beautiful black woman, Queen, exactly. She devoted all her savings, man, $5,000 to start her nonprofit and to provide the resources and the mentorship and the education to young students. Like, that is commendable. That is dedication. Her schedule, waking up at 4:00 in the morning, like I dread even waking up at 5:30 just to go to the gym, and it just is. It's something that I love to see because not only she's a rattler, right, from my alum from Florida A&M University, but she is really striving for solution. We always make excuses, constantly making excuses why this is not working or blaming someone else. But this woman is actually putting in the work, creating solutions, making better programs for people of color and minorities to have a chance, to have better opportunities, to make better decisions when it comes to their finances. And I love it. Like this is what a great example of Florida A&M University alums do. Lawrence, put in the work.
All right, put it in work. I'm going to take the jokes aside. I do want to kind of give her shout outs because I think she's been doing this for a very long time. I remember even like doing a micro interview of her and just having conversation with her. And one of those things that she talked about was did. And I'll never forget that, because it was kind of like she asked her and her husband, she have conversations about money. And one of those things that they do, they also talk about travel. So her acronym for travel is did. Did you travel? Being domestic, international, domestic. And ever since then, it stuck with me. Like, this person is a person that's profound. She understands the intentionality behind making decisions that matters, and also kind of taking a step back when it needs to. So it's never really about just the money for her. It was really about the impact that she's been making. And she's been doing that for years. I'm happy, like elated that she's finally, getting to the point where people are beginning to notice how phenomenal that she is. So, without, that one young lady is doing her thing. Not every young lady is, but you're right. Maybe we need to talk about the fellas that ain't doing ish.
Oh, good segue.
Like,
good segue.
The guys gonna be looking at me, boo! I thought you was gonna slide with us, man. Like, slide with us. A friend of mine, a person. Well, I'll probably Neffy. I forget, Nefertali.
Yeah.
Yeah. Recently, she reached out to me on DM. She was like, "Hey, I got this friend. She's 36. These are her photos. She works at something." And I'm looking at her like, her friend look good. She's like, she's ready to get married. She's ready to have kids. Do you have any friends? And I started thinking of my friends, and it's like you run through the Rolodex of friends, like the Pokedex, like who's who. And then you realize all your friends are either, if it's for good, they're either taken and they're married. The good ones are the ones that, they have jobs, they have careers, they got families. You got people that are taken off the list, but there's a whole bunch of other guys. If not 80% of the rest of the guys are, to be honest, man, I call it what it is. Man to man trash. It's just straight trash. They have
friends are trash. Are you saying that?
Oh, yeah.
Podcast?
Some people that I know are pretty much trash. Like, they, not in the sense like they're bad people, but they need to do the work. Like, they need to work on themselves. They need to work on their even from your physique, for your mental state, your balance, your confidence levels, the job that you take, and the direction that you go into. I always try to call it out, especially if they ever bring me up on the stage in a podcast, and I podcast or even a Clubhouse stage or whatever. I always say specifically black guys are underemployed, unemployed, or structurally unemployed. Structurally unemployed means that you don't have the skills to fit in the jobs that you even want. Like, they just, you can't just, hey, we have like 5 surgeon jobs and you got 50 guys. Like, no, unless you got the skills, you can't be the surgeon. You see what I mean? So there's a lot of these jobs, even IT or tech or something like that. Like, if you don't have the technical skills and the chops for it, we can't just give you the job off of like, yeah, just because you're here, you exist. So therefore, here's the job. And that's the problem. So I'm definitely calling out the guys.
I would say this too, because I know you focus on the unemployment as well as the underemployment of Black men, but we're discussing Black men, right? About Black men, but also it's the development with that too, the self-development. So I have seen, and I was talking to my best friend about it. I have seen the evolution of most women in my circle or in my life, right? And for the most part, I'll say it's been positive. Like you've seen the evolution with me, like the growth with me, right? Coming back from South Korea. And it's been mostly positive, right? In the growth and what you have kind of been through from, high school, the younger adolescence up into college, and your experiences and your exposure. What I have noticed throughout the years is, and I think it goes both for both men and women, but specifically men, is that most times I have observed that most men are still in this arrested development stage, where like the highlights of college or the highlights of these moments are still continuum, right? And what I'm saying is that, and more specifically, is the constant going out. But within going out, it's not intentional. It's just busy doing nothing. And we take these social skills or these toxic behaviors to continuously choose bad relationships, stay in toxic relationships, not be intentional with our time, creating these skills or these kind of behaviors where we don't know what we want. we always, pointing fingers at Black women, but Black men don't really know what they want, because most times they don't know who they are, and that's the thing that we don't acknowledge when it comes to that. And that arrested development is detrimental in our community, because we're noticing that there is a very lack of, I guess, good standards for Black men. Like, we don't have much of selections that we can choose from, like good quality. It's just not all about just making all this sort of money, but we just want the valuable, good character of Black men. And I'm just noticing a lot of our age group is what's up? A lot of our age group is still in this arrested development, where they're not growing up, not evolving. So that's what I'm seeing too.
I eat trash.
Man.
Hey, man to man, trash.
Ooh, is there also a narrative that as a community that we've been really hard on Black men, that they don't have space to express their grievances?
Yeah and no. I think the biggest grievance that everybody has right now, especially in the Black community, especially as it pertains to Black men, which I think is the crux of it all, like, is how Black men either bring or don't bring income into the home, which doesn't bring income into the community. That's the biggest piece. Because if you do not employ your men in any society, that society crumbles, period. And a lot of Black men are actually unemployed. And it's to the point where it's almost, I want to say it's, in some cities, it's 50%. Like half the guys don't have jobs. That's just what it is. Especially during the height of like the pandemic, COVID, whatnot. You got like 70%, in some cities they didn't have jobs. Especially if you're at the lowest rung, you're the one that you lost it, whatever it is. But the problem, the grievances we truly have is with our past. Because back when you were 9, 10, like you go into elementary school, middle school, and high school, we were kind of pushed towards being quote unquote thugs. That was the cool shit to do. That was the stuff that everybody wanted to do. But to be a thug, you had to forego education. Education wasn't the priority to be a thug. To be a thug is a look, it's an appeal, it's an aggression, it's a fight against somebody else, it's, thuggery, all that good stuff. And a majority of that has nothing to do with becoming educated, becoming, planning for the future, getting into different industries and careers. None of that passed. Especially, I know some, there's some Black men out here, I grew up in like, middle of America, middle income with two, parents that went to college, but a lot of, Black people did not. And because they did not go, their parents didn't go to college, the only thing you saw with thug, and a lot of the ladies were like, hey, thugs is in. It's a thumbs up. If you're a thug, you get a thumbs up. If you're a square or a nerd, as they call it, you get a thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
So because of it, I think the grievances that Black men have today is a reflection of where they can't be tomorrow. So it's almost like you can't undo 20, 30 years of just bad direction in just one fell swoop. You can't give that person that never understood discipline, hard work, and all that stuff, and all of a sudden you give him a job. It doesn't work, especially if you give him a job that he feels that he needs to get paid more for, especially in a day in which social media pushes, hey, high value man, $100,000, fast cash, baller life. You ain't baller lifing on $44,000 a year. You ain't baller lifing on $50,000 or even $60,000. You're going to have to start doing something, especially if you're pushing 40, you're pushing 50. That life has died. That's why now, even to this day, which always irked me, grown ass men, teachers, sneakerheads. You are a grown ass 45-year-old dude.
Hey.
Sneakerheads.
They coming for you.
They could come. They could come. Thank you for, they could come for me, but it's asinine in this day and age in which you're still trying to be 20. You're still trying to look like you fit in.
It's a profitable industry.
It is profitable to somebody else, but it's not profitable to the person that's always trying to be a certain age. At some point, you don't have to have the latest sneakers. You probably should have a 401k, maybe some stocks in them sneakers. something. Or like if you told me that, hey, Lawrence, hey, I got a whole bunch of Nike stocks, and every year I get, dividends that equals to the point where I could buy this brand new shoe. That's a grown man strategy. The strategy of just paying for shoes, because it's not just the shoe. It's not because you love the shoe. BS. You love the attention that you get from the shoe. That's what you're buying. You're not buying the shoe.
Lawrence, I love Nikes, man. Like,
ladies.
Performance.
Ladies. For ladies, fashion is a different beast. For guys, fashion, anything that we do is utility. Playing video games is utility because it's fun to do. Buying clothes is utility because maybe I got this great outfit. It's going to give me a little bit more swag and more confidence. It's going to get me a girl. Is it a utility function? When I buy the tennis shoe, which is a tennis shoe, it's really based off the utility that you're going to get likes, you're going to get social acceptance, community acceptance, so on and so forth. You're not buying the shoe. It could have been Adidas, all I care. If Adidas was popping, which was at one point, everybody had Adidas.
But isn't that a grown man put together when you want to look good and buy quality things? Or
I personally don't. Maybe I digress from that. I don't agree. I don't agree.
Be put together,
I think if the focus of your life is to be put together, then everything has to be put together, not just the way you look on the exterior point. Like you need to be mentally right. So it's not just aesthetics. Physically, okay. Yeah. It's not just what it's like I want to be put together by having a brand new car. That's not being put together.
Okay.
If you don't have a plan for the future, your 5, 10, 20, 30-year plan, you don't have a goal. You're not even, you're like, I don't know what type of woman I want. So you're pushing 42. You don't know what type of woman you want. My God, man. Like this is not.
Speak about it.
This is not, you know what? This is not a rant episode. Everybody kind of
it sounds like it. It feels like it. The vibe.
I was trying to say a couple things for the guys to step up, but I'm not going to get into that. But I said what I said.
So what I'm hearing is there needs to be an evolution in the progress of masculinity, right? And
is it masculinity or just being a man and being the man that you
I want to use the term masculinity because I think as a society, we're going away from it completely because we've been putting toxic masculinity.
Okay.
And that's been a term, but I have not heard much of toxic femininity, and there is a such thing. But I'm not even going to go into that bag. I think that should be its own episode because everyone's like toxic masculinity, but it's like there is some femininity that is just not right. It's out of alignment. But I'm not going to go in that bag. We're just going to talk about masculinity. I think there is a place for it, right? Because there's a yin and yang. And I think that there has been a weaning off, that there has not been a lot of male figures for Black men. And so that becomes a problem in terms of, I think Obama was trying to say, we need to step up, we need accountability. And the community was like in an uproar. Like, how dare he bring this up? The reality is men need to be spoken to like men. In a sense, and what I mean by like men is that I think there's so much women that are pointing and saying this is what men should do, or this is that and the third, or men that are telling women what they should be doing. And I think there needs to be a more equal balance of like people like law, other men that can say, okay, what are your guys' desires? Because I don't know what's the default, not necessarily default setting, but what is the core of a heart of a man? What are the things that really are going to motivate him? Because I really do feel like this group or generation of men are unmotivated. They're uninspired. And so I can't say as a woman, well, what motivates me should motivate you. But there needs to be a dialogue between grown-ass men, I have to say it that way, that can literally talk to the core of what manhood is, because we're not doing rites of passage. There used to be, and you talk about hundreds of years ago, there used to be things of rites of passage. You knew that you were coming into your manhood, your womanhood. And there was a group of people that came together that helped you define who you are. And you couldn't have if you didn't have certain things, you couldn't even get married. There was a bar. There's something to obtain. And I think if we think about how in society, how the male has always been a hunter, I think that they have nothing to hunt. I think there is something to be said about being uninspired and unmotivated. It doesn't give an excuse to the behaviors, but there needs to be a dialogue of what is that internal clock that has been literally set on 12 and hasn't been moving. because it's not something that I'm talking to one or two guys. Most of my guys, friends, are in this perpetual state. And I'm just like, okay, I know I have like so much mentors. I have so much access. But when I start talking to them, it's far in between. And I don't know if it's how they try to get into relationship. I don't know how the typical man gets into their mentorship relationship building. But these are things that need to be talked about, because I do really feel that there is a level of being unmotivated, uninspired. And maybe I've been raised by a single mom, and my mom did as best as she could, but I don't have that level of compass to say, okay, this is what manhood is. And then I get in a relationship with a girl that has had at least 10 empowerment sessions she had at least had been able to have access to. There's always a program for her. There's always this. And I'm competing. And now it's not even a intersection of us becoming partners. Now, especially in terms of Black love, the Black woman becomes my competitor, not my ally. Something to be said.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about that. I think it's interesting that you brought up how guys get mentored. I think for some, they kind of default into things like, hey, if you're in sports, you get your coach and your coach becomes your mentor. Because basically your pastor, your friend, your father, whatever it is. So for a lot of guys, that's what, that's where they get that information from. If you aren't the sports, like sports related type of dude, whatnot, and you just kind of go along with the flow of it, the typical place that mentoring for us psychologically comes from is from, the male members of your family, primarily your dad, and if not your uncles and so on and so forth, right? If they're not around to do that job, or they don't pick up that job, or your dad is not around to raise you and stuff like that, then we don't have this necessarily the same type of like positioning to say, I'm just going to go get this information from guy X over there. Even in the wild, you find like lions and stuff like that. People just don't get into the next tribe just for the hell of it. Like you can't just fit in like that. And I think it's been, at least for me, very difficult to ever find any mentor at all. Even though I know some successful dudes, but they're not sharing that information directly to me, nor are they positioning themselves to be the people that share. To their kids, maybe. To their close friends, maybe. To their nieces and nephews, maybe. But to the next guy, it's almost like the next guy is your competitor. Naturally, the next group of guys that aren't related to you are not part of your crew. And because of it, there is no mentoring. It's just the way that at least from the way I've been seeing it, the way that guys process mentoring and finding those type of relationships is not the same as like women do it. It seems like you guys get through that fairly easy.
Another question that I actually do have for you, Law, is there are some pivotal moments of you sharing your story. I got a chance to interview Lawrence twice full depth, so I remember some good juicy details. And I think I want you to speak to the fact of you didn't grow up with your dad, right? You have a complex family dynamic, which I feel like that's most Haitian families, but that's a whole other conversation, a whole other podcast. Complex family dynamics. But here you are, you have a thriving marriage. You are financially stable. You're contributing to the community, but you didn't necessarily have the clear path. What were some of the things that were saying like, okay, I may not have the mentors. May not have all this stuff, but I can't continue living my life this way because I want it to change. What made you, in an unlikely situation, decide to pivot?
It's probably hard to even define it. I think for me, the easiest thing has always been to default to the cartoons or the video games that I played that imparted some level of morality and instruction on me that I felt that were adequately complex, but also very morally fulfilling. Whereas in truth, it could have also been the fact that I grew up overseas in Haiti, where we learned history even the way that learning is structured, it was never about the I, it was about the we. It was about the world itself. So when you think about the U.S. is like they take the world that says, here's a globe, zoom in to you. You're important in this scenario. And that's how they teach generally a lot of kids in America, that they are almost the prime figure in their lives and therefore the prime figure in anything. Whereas the French way, and I don't know if it's every other or the European way of teaching kids, is that you start off from the smallest piece and you work your way all the way up. So the idea is that there's the individual. The individual comes from a family. The family comes from a city block. A city block comes from community. Community is a state. And a state is a nation. A nation belongs to the world. So the ideal is always moving upwards. That means you are this small piece of the entirety of the world that has a history that spans over, 5,000, maybe 10,000 years. So in that sense, they taught us not necessarily to focus on ourselves and then focus on the other. So for me, when I, talk about my situation and how I grew up, and I just basically in my mind, I was like, I don't want to be those people that wasn't there for me. That was it. That was the only thing. I was like, you know what? I guess nobody's here for me, but I guess I need to be there for the next kid that comes around because nobody's going to be here for them. So I live my life in that sense that I've lived it for others. So in the sense of like not being around, not being visible, not being vocal, I decided to basically be other than the people that did not show up for me. As simple as that. It was never super complicated. It was never anything, more profound than that. It was just literally, I'm going to be there. What you got to say, Alainta? See that you're doing your hair. You're getting that done. Yeah. We're looking at you. Yeah. You out here getting some therapy moments. She's like, I'm detangling my hair.
Real black girl moment. No, I was going to give a shout out to your recent blog post, your article about I think it was titled "To the Black Boys That Contemplate Suicide or Think About Suicide," which was amazing. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you check it out on the Neighborhood Finance Guy. So much of finance,
right? We'll add it to the show because that one is a worthy.
Yeah, it's a great ad. Check that out on his website. I really enjoyed it. But just to touch points on everyone made is difficult. And what Lovely mentioned about the Obama administration. So if you don't know, the Obama administration launched My Brother's Keeper back in 2014. It's a mentorship for young Black boys in high school to have the access and resources to mentors, right? He acknowledged as a president, being a young Black male himself, without his father guidance, right? His father has left and moved back to Kenya, and it was difficult for him. And he noticed that without the presence of a Black man and without that guidance, it is very difficult. To touch points on everyone made is it's not a space that we have accessibility for our Black men. And it's hard to reach out to others when you don't know yourself how to guide, how to lead your own life. And that's a lot of the self-development that we're talking about earlier in the episode of that we don't see the evolution. And most times, men may not even know what does that even look like for them because they don't have that example. But just some great points. But if you haven't done so, check out that writing blog on the Neighborhood Finance Guy. It's amazing. And I think Lawrence touched on a lot of good things that, occurred in his life, and also some reflection of what it took for him to get to this point too, because it's a pivotal moment, but I think sometimes people are just scared, both men and women, people are just scared to even, attempt to do anything,
I'm going to plug this book that I kind of heard from, I forget the YouTube channel right now. I think it's Book Insights. Book Insights Podcast or Book Insights Review Podcast. It's on YouTube as well. They brought up this book called Daring Greatly by Brene Brown. So the name of the book in total is Daring Greatly, How the Courageous to Be Vulnerable Transforms the Way We Live, Love, Parent, and Lead. I'm going to let you write out with your favorite book and kind of reviewing it for us. But ultimately, the ideal here is that for some reason, we've become so afraid to even live in our failure. Like sometimes our own personal failure might be the story that somebody else needs in order for them to grow. I think, when you're shaming ourselves, when we're becoming silent, when we're not saying what we are, who we are, and we're trying to be quote unquote perfect all the time with the filters and everything like that, we're not being real. So the name of it, again, is Daring Greatly, how the courage to be vulnerable transforms the way we live, love, parent, and lead, by Brene Brown. So go ahead, Lovely, with a review. Why is this your one of your favorite books?
I'm going to actually read the quote that is the foundation of this whole Daring Greatly, because that makes the biggest sense to even read, because it sets the foundation of the book, which is a quote from Theodore Roosevelt. "It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who thrives valiantly, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly." And to put this in context for the podcast, our community, and specifically we're talking about Black men, in Daring Greatly, Brene challenges us to think about how oftentimes the person that's not in the arena is judging how the game is played, judging how the outcome is. But it goes to the person that actually tries to actually bet on yourself to say, I want to do something different. And even if you fail, even if things don't work out exactly the way you thought it should, that you already won. Why? Because you failed, but daring greatly. And I feel like so many men are failing, but they're not daring greatly. They're not showing up the way they should. They're not exposing themselves to love. They're not doing the things that inspire them. They're moving in a trend of what everyone else thinks that they should be. If you want to be in computers, be into computers. You don't have to be the guy that listens to football or watches NBA if that's not you. There's so much that we can do. And specifically when I hear Brene talk, she's like, remove the mask so that you can show up as who you are. And when you show up as who you are, the world opens up for you. And so many of our generation are taught that you have to be one way. You have to be a certain way to be approved, to be loved, and to be liked. But vulnerability is being okay with showing up, and it may not be somebody's mix. You may not be, quote unquote, the woman, the guy that she wants because you don't yet have six figures, but you have a dream inside of you. You have purpose within you. Go after that. Show up to the arena. So many of our generation are not even playing in the game. We're watching the game, but we're not in it. You don't want to go to places that are going to make you uncomfortable. But if you continue to live in the space of just how everybody thinks you should be, you'll never be able to be in your own arena. And so it was one of the books that I remember reading in a very transitional period of my life. And I knew that the next step of me changing required vulnerability. It required me changing who I thought I was based off my environment. And I think so many men can benefit from that. The idea that your failure is only when you don't try, when you don't show up, that you may go out and actually achieve beyond your wildest dreams. To understand, there was a point that Barack Obama didn't even think it was possible to be president at all. And there was an opening. There was that one little opening. And he gave a speech that literally put him on the map. It was like at one of the Democrat conventions. That moment was a pivotal moment. But that was him showing up to his arena. That was him showing up and trying. My question to you is, are you even trying in your life? Or have you decided that because someone has told me that I'm not good enough, because some girl rejected me, because, that it's not even worth to try? So many men are committing suicide because they are aborting their seed. When you kill yourself, you're literally taking the seed that should have been in the ground to become great fruit. And we don't ever get to see the possibility of who you were meant to be. So these are like really big thoughts, but I hope that you get out this podcast understanding that you're worth it. And I want to speak that to men, because sometimes that's not said. We often treat them like disposable credit cards. And if they can't swipe on the ATM, then we're not trying to be with them and we're not trying to do these things. And it can be a detriment to somebody's esteem. So you're worth it. but show us that you're worth it by showing up for yourself. That's my thoughts on Daring Greatly, and those are my final thoughts on this topic.
See, that's why I love Lovely. Like, she balanced out us so much. You know,
I thought it was a great team effort. You don't have to just give it to her. Like, I thought it was an amazing team effort. We balanced the sucker out. Like,
Law was just like, so you did not.
I think Law is so left, and I'm like a little bit in the middle, and let me just bridge us. It's amazing.
Wow. I'm like, all right, cool. Gotta give people some shine here and there. Gotta do it. But Lovely be out there sleeping on updating the simple cast out there. I'm just saying.
No, I'm not sleeping, guys. I have the week that I had, guys. The week that I had.
I was struggling at work too. I didn't do anything. I was struggling.
Are you still at home? Are you still working from home?
Yeah. Still working from home.
Oh.
Lawrence not going back until like 2023.
Nah, probably 2022 though. Like, they're probably gonna wait until after, because I haven't been in the office since February 2020.
It's crazy.
February 17, 2020.
The minute Lawrence starts going back to the office, just know we're gonna have to deal with a lot level of toxicity. Just a little bit.
Oh yeah.
He gonna be on the edge for a little bit. So guys, whenever Lawrence starts working again in office, just bear with us. We don't
they're giving us an option to, hey, you want to telework from home most of the time? I'm doing it most of the time because I hate DC Metro.
Oh, okay. So
DC Metro is fine.
A dash of toxicity because he'll
it's times. DC Metro, y'all know from DC, it's a little racist because it goes from the white side to the black side. If you sit on the Metro long enough, it kind of gets the gradient scale of the people.
Oh man,
changes.
And your commute is a bus, then the Metro, right? The bus.
No. This one, you don't have. We could walk. Like, well, my wife, she actually walks to the Metro if she needs to. Like in the morning, at least back then, she'd walk and she'd kind of just take the Metro. So she's cool with it. Me, I just kind of swing on the bus because it's right next to the place. But it's a 5-minute ride on the bus. So I could escape it. I don't have to use it, but it's kind of more like hey, if I could pull it off, I pull it off. But it's a 30-minute commute on the Metro, so it's not terrible, but it's the fact that sometimes, you got people loud, they got their music blaring. I'm like, put your headphones on. Nobody wants to hear you. But hey, you're right. I might get a little toxic. I hate that entire community.
I'm telling you, I'm calling it now.
Some fights. Like some people, there's a lot of people robbing people too. Like you can't be sleeping out there. They might rob you. They try to fight you. It's pretty weird. But a lot of people gonna have to deal with that. Like going back to work.
I'm surprised you guys don't have security. I remember just chilling out there one night. Thank gosh I had someone to, I don't know. Strangers always randomly talking to me, but it's a little scary. And I was there by myself. Remember, I'm coming from the concert, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of dark out here. It was no security guard. It wasn't anyone out there. And this dude just randomly started talking, and we just started vibing about something. But yeah, it was hella dark.
Yeah, but especially with all the stuff that's going on in 2020 and 2021, the mental health crisis that this country and even the world, not even just here, it's just the world, because even France decided to say, hey, in 2022, they're going to give free mental health to all their citizens. So that's going on in France, and America definitely needs it because people are a little bit on edge and they're ready to snap. When you have a populace that's undereducated and don't have a job, they're over entitled. So they want to have like stuff over substance. Everything else degrades in your mind, especially if you don't have a good family structure. You don't have all that stuff. All of that is actually fading away in America. But that's a whole other thought and idea. That's a whole other podcast.
A whole other one.
Everybody's like, everything's a whole other podcast.
Like this one was like, there's so much things we could have went into, but my meeting got pushed back, so I'm here. I actually made it through the whole episode, but I'm telling you guys. But I'll be uploading on Simplecast. By the way, getting things done, just like a good Samaritan, a good citizen. I was gonna do it last night, but then I was tired. My brain wasn't working.
You do the Haitian stuff. Like, it's gonna be on there, but you never show up.
No, it wasn't the Haitian stuff. I pulled it up. I pulled it up and my brain was just like looking at it and it wasn't making sense. And that's when that was my cue of like, nah, love. Because guys, I work like 10, 12 hours a day. Like it's kind of bananas. Sometimes I look at my schedule and I'm like, it's no joke.
That
but
sounds
I am
personal.
getting a VA.
That sounds like
entrepreneurship.
Don't care.
That's that real entrepreneurship. People glamorize entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship. That's a whole other episode.
Okay,
you guys see what I sent you. You see what I sent you.
Oh no, let's record that after this. Let's do that. But right, hey, cool. Before we leave, I do want to give credit to Alainta for actually building up our guest interviewers list form.
Oh yeah,
we got that coming. So we got a lot of things in the game plan for everybody, because obviously Alainta finally got herself a mic, so maybe our level, our mic's level is up as well. So I don't know. We're gonna probably get some hate letters for that too, but it's all good. But we have a lot of good ideas coming up together. We got great topics, and we also have hopefully some guests to come on and share their perspective, because this is the Financial Griot. We'd love to have the stories, we'd love to have the people, and we love to have the dialogue. So with that being said,
awesome.
We just did a whole other 15-minute shorts after the close of this podcast.
This just closed. That was the close. I just did it. I just closed.
Oh, we did? Okay. Bye, guys. See y'all later.
Bye. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Financial Griot podcast, powered by the Wealth Builders Collective.